you each and every week, mostly on Saturdays now, but now I'm here on a Sunday because after a long travel day, I need a little bit of rest. For those that don't know me, maybe joining for the first time, my name is Frank Ferragini, aka Frankie Flowers, City TV's weather and garden expert, four-time best-selling garden author. I come here to answer your garden questions to kind of help you through that journey of gardening, to kind of put a smile on your face, to help you become a plant parent instead of plant killer. Also, the community of people that are on here will ask questions, but some of those questions that I don't get to, they actually hop on and answer for you. Truth be told, I do have a little bit of a cold, a little bit. I've been testing. This is what we do in our worlds right now. We test to make sure that we don't have something called COVID. I am COVID free at this moment, but with travel, we do have a cold. Suzanne, good morning as well from gorgeous Perry Sound as well. For those that don't know where I was over the last little bit, if you did join us on breakfast television this week, you would have seen that I was in the Florida Panhandle. With that, I was there with Verbo talking about just different home rentals. So featuring different houses that are out there. Great option for people if you're considering going on a vacation. I had flown into Fort Walton, which is Destin, Florida. And we were in Miramar Beach and Santa Rosa Beach, which are areas of Florida that I've never been to before. And the sand was white sand. The beach was quite nice that was there. There was golf, a lot of fishing that happened there. So it's always good to learn about other things. If you're wondering about any other travel that I'm doing for work as well, I am actually traveling, and this is not with breakfast television. I'm traveling at the end of November to Turks and Caicos, to go to a botanical garden, to go check out a botanical resort, as a matter of fact. I'm going to help with some of the design work that's there, feature some of the items that are there, take a look at some of the different plant material as well. And that's some fun that's going to be happening. Okay. Got a bunch of good mornings that are happening out there this morning. So let's just do a little good morning shout out. So we got Liz, good morning from Peterborough. We have another little shout out this morning as well from Kathleen. Morning, Frankie. Can you tell me when is a good time to prune a grafted catalpa tree? So now is the time that you can prune that grafted catalpa tree, or even you could do it early spring, anytime that it's in dormancy. The grafted catalpa tree is really, you can do a very hard pruning on it, meaning you can prune it even more than half its size, the canopy size that's on the top. And then that will create those nice little ball forms that you see with the catalpas themselves. So either prune now, as soon as it drops its leaves, that's when I would prune, because it's easier to work with. You'll see the branches and whatnot, and with that you can prune away. We got Monica this morning. Good morning from Niagara Falls. We got Maria saying good morning this morning as well. We got Debbie with a question maybe. Hi, Frankie. Could you help me? Many of our pine needles are turning brown. Is this okay? Actually, this was an email question that I had earlier this week too on some of the cypress, and you're seeing this with cypress and pines. Often as a tree gets a little bit more mature, and often after we've had a very hot summer, you will see some browning of the needles. What is key before winter sets in is that we make sure that those evergreens that maybe are turning a slight browning right now, we do give them a watering. And we want to make sure we're giving them a nice deep soaking before winter sets in, unless they're white pine. White pine, as soon as we get into dormancy and a little bit more towards the late fall, early winter months, that's when you'll see the white pine go to a normal kind of yellowish tinge. Not completely yellow, but a little bit of a yellowish tinge. They'll actually drop a lot of their needles and then come back on in the spring that's there. So we got Leslie. Good morning from Uxbridge this morning. Another little shout out from Suzanne this morning. Hi, Carol. Yes, you can. There you go. Suzanne's answering some of the questions that are out there as well. Hi, Frankie. When can I prune a quince bush? Thank you. Best time to prune quince, which is Japanese quince, nice little orange flowers, is after they bloom. If you have any erratic growing branches, because quince can get quite large and they are thorny, so just be careful. You can do any slight pruning right now just to shape, but do the harder pruning right after they bloom, and that would be in late spring. Thanks, Janice, for that. Matthew, good morning to you. Oh, we almost missed this one here. Let's go over to this question that we have here. I have a beautiful rose plant growing outside my work window. I would like to snip a stem to the plant. Where can I snip it to maintain growth? I tried so many times and it never works. Roses, this is for Morello, I guess would be the name. Roses are grafted. So roses themselves, if it's a flowering rose, often many roses, not all roses, are grafted. And because you may be trying and it's never reverting, it's never actually coming into that same rose that you enjoy, that's the reason. Anytime that you do want to take a stem clipping or a clipping from a rose or any flowering shrub, more so flowering shrubs, you want to take the newest growth on there and you want to take about 1.5 inches of that growth. And you want to be doing the rooting when that happens in the spring, going in from spring into summer. That's the best time to be rooting. Now, because our daylight hours are getting shorter, it's really hard to root any outdoor plants at this time. So that's some points for you. Here we go with Matthew. Good news to hear about the BT breakfast party. I'm looking forward to it. For those that wonder, maybe you don't watch breakfast television, for years we did Spirit of the Season on breakfast television. And this year that's coming back. So there's an opportunity for you to meet myself and the entire breakfast television team by joining us on the morning of December 16th at the Sheridan Center. The Sheridan Center is located in downtown Toronto. You can stay the evening of the 15th and the evening of the 16th at a preferred rate. So just go on to Breakfast Television's website. That's breakfasttelevision.com, I believe, and you'll see more information that's there. And we're going to do the whole show. This is from Sharon. Just going to take a little sip of tea here, guys. Hey, Frankie. Sharon from Mono here. Hi, Sharon. I would look at like a Paw Paw Tree or two. What chances they can grow here? Will. So Paw Paw Tree. That's probably just a nickname for it. I don't know what a Paw Paw Tree is. So what we're going to do is we're going to look it up right now. And we're all going to learn about a Paw Paw Tree. So these are actually Ontario native plants. So here we go. Checking if this connection can be secure before we proceed. Proceeding. Okay. So they're out of stock right now. The Paw Paw, I'm actually going to share my screen here as well. This is really not a great. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to share my screen so you guys can take a look at what I'm looking at. So we're going to share screen. We're going to go over here and we're going to go to share. Okay. So this is what's the Paw Paw plant. And to be very honest with you, I was not very aware of this. You can see that it's sold out of stock on this website, which is onplants.ca. But you can even contact when the plant is available. When we get to the description, what's really important for me is that this tree is native to a Carolina zone. So Southern Ontario is the Carolina zone and will grow best in the milder regions of Southern Ontario from zone 5 to 7. So in mono, you are a borderline zone 5, depending upon how high elevation you are. So if you're closer towards the escarpment, where a higher elevation, I'd probably go, for $8, if you can buy this tree for $8, I would try it. And I would actually get it at a smaller stock. I would try it. This is what it looks like. So you can see it's a nice small little stock that you get there. And then as it matures, you actually get a fruit out of this. And if we want to look at what the mature size of a Paw Paw tree, there it is. So you may want to try it. It's marginally hardy for you in that area. There we go. We both learned something about the Paw Paw tree. Even I learn sometimes. You can't know it all. Okay. Morning from Bradford. Rhonda, good morning. You're my neighbor. I'm wondering when it's a good time to plant seeds of Coxcomb plant. Coxcomb is an annual plant to plant the seeds indoors. If you want to you can try to get some of the seeds right now from some of the plants that you have. When you're going to be planting indoors will be early March. You can tell I got a little bit of a tickle in my throat. So you'll be seeding the Coxcomb plant in, forgive me, early to mid-March. And you're going to be doing that indoors in a seed starting soil. Follow the same practices that we do for most plants that we're seeding indoors. It will then be planted outdoors in the garden after frost warnings. So that'll be in late May in the Bradford area. Good morning to Marlene Fawcett this morning. I missed you. I work on Saturdays. Oh, that's good to know, Marlene. So maybe we'll switch it up a little bit, guys, for you. You can always rewatch as well. So you can always go on to Facebook and you can see the recorded version that we have. So that recorded version is up all week long. So it's not just live. You can also see me on the recorded version. Sharon Lloyd, finish fall cleanup and we'll enjoy some of the colors today. Good. I want to talk a little bit about fall cleanup right now. So let's talk a little bit about leaves. So your fall leaves that you have out there that are on your lawn. If your lawn, you don't see any of the green blades of grass on your lawn, you definitely need to go out there and rake. You can use a mulching lawnmower and go over the lawn with a mulching blade on that lawnmower and pulverize those leaves. And as long as those leaves are being pulverized down and mulched down so that you can still see the green blades of your lawn, you're completely fine. If your lawn leaves are clean, meaning that there's disease-free leaves that have come off the trees, you can rake those leaves into your garden, or you can even rake them into the compost and create some compost because they're carbon that are adding carbon. If they're diseased, I would encourage you to rake them and put them in bags, or look to your municipality in any way that they want them for pickup and put them on the curbside for pickup. They will then go into a compost program. That compost that a municipality does puts them out at such a temperature that will actually kill any of the bacterial spores that are there for some of the diseases that exist on those leaves. Super important though to rake up those leaves. Oh, there's my son. I'm just gonna tell him that I'll call him back. Can I call you later? Boom. I'm just gonna let him know what I'm doing here. You guys are getting everything today. Just on my live. He's at a friend's house. That's why that's going on. So look, you're getting the full Frankie Flowers effect here today. Dad, everything, learning, everything. So that's a little bit about leaves. So make sure you rake those leaves off the lawn. If they're diseased, put them to the curb. Spring flowering bulbs. I want to tell you that this is a great weekend, anytime over the next couple of weekends, to be planting spring flowering bulbs. And if you're wondering, what the heck am I talking about? Of course, what I'm talking about is, let's go to the Netherlands. We're talking about everything from tulips to daffodils to crocuses to grapesilla to hyacinths to alliums to frutillaria to even right now, another bulb that you can plant at this time of the year is garlic. So now is the time to get out there and to do the planting of color that you can see in your garden. Look at some of these pictures, just unbelievable pictures that are out there. And this here, of course, is Keukenhof, that's located in the Netherlands. If you're thinking about ever doing a trip to see some beautiful flowering bulbs, you have to go to the Netherlands. You just have to go to the Netherlands in spring. Let's get back to some questions. Good morning from Ajax this morning. This one here, can I plant an oak tree sapling now? Yes, you can. The only thing I would do with that oak tree sapling is I would cover it. So I would, if it's small and it's fairly short, if you did have a higher bucket, just put the bucket over the top of that sapling when winter just starts, when we start to get colder temperatures. So I would wait till almost December and put the bucket over the top and just put a rock on top of the bucket. That rock on top of the bucket will make sure the bucket doesn't blow around. The bucket itself will provide a little bit of shade and a little bit of extra protection from winds. And that's a great way for you to protect that sapling that you have there. Another question, laugh out loud, said Lisa. Probably laughing because my son called. There you go. Jen, hi, Frankie. I have indoor basil plant and the leaves haven't come back after taking some off. How long does it take for regrowth? Good question, Jen. Really hard for indoor basil to grow at this time of the year. The reason is because of our lack of daylight hours. So if you want basil to grow indoors at this time of the year and you want to see some of that regrowth, then you got to get a grow light. Grow lights can be purchased many home improvement stores, even garden centers, but even online you can purchase some smaller ones. If you want to grow basil with ease indoors during the winter months, check out Click and Grow, or check out as well, something that I love is the Arrow Garden. So Click and Grow and or Arrow Garden. Good morning. That's life. You get to see my life right here, guys. Yeah. Still being a dad, got a cold, trying to figure things out. Here we go. Hi, Frankie. I cleaned up the roots of Canna lily. So it's the tuber of the Canna lily. Wrapped them in newspaper and stored them in a full box of sawdust. I stored the box in the cold cellar. I went to plant them in spring, but they were all dried up. Any suggestions? So with them being dried up, there could have been some meatier sections that were there. Maybe instead of wrapping them in newspaper, I would just put them into the sawdust themselves. The drying would probably indicate that your cold cellar has some moisture loss that's happening. Usually cold cellars are fairly moist. They're cold, but they usually are not as dry as your home. Other suggestions, it could be the time of year that you want to go plant them. They shouldn't have completely dried up. So I would try it again this year. I would try them not to wrap in the newspaper. I would just try to just put them directly into the sawdust, space them apart from each other. in the sawdust. And just make sure that when you're going to put them in, you just dust as much soil as possible off. You can dust that soil off just with a paintbrush. So you basically let them sit outside and let them somewhat dry in the sun, the soil, and then just dust that soil off and then put them inside that box. So there you go. Here we go with another comment and or question. Ashley Brown, Maston and I enjoyed planting tulips and daffodils yesterday. Such an amazing weather for it. Ashley, and that, oh, it's right here, that little tulip. I put that there. Where? Oh, it's over here. This tulip right here is what you guys sent to me. That's the everlasting variety of tulip, that one right there. I love it. It's my little thing that I got to have beside me all the time. Maria. Hi, Maria. I cleaned up the roots of the cantaloupe. That's the same question that we have. Sorry about that. I just got to slide down here a little bit. This is from Sandy. Good morning, Frankie from Essex Hort Society. Hey, I love the Horticultural Society. We grow pawpaws here. We can eat the fruit, and you should come to Essex County and visit us. We would love to see you. I would love to see you. Essex County, by the way, is down along the shorelines of Lake Huron. Essex County, not too far away from Sarnia. So you are in Southern Ontario. So you do have that warmer zone 5 to zone 7 that's down there. And I would love to come visit you. I would love to come talk to the Essex Horticultural Society. So just send me an email, frankie@frankieflowers.com. Okay, need your guys' help. Where I need your guys' help is with something that we just are soft launching right now. You guys know I've been working on frankieflowers.com. So here's a look at the new website. You can just go to frankieflowers.com. Right now, this is pretty much just a soft launch of the website that I'm going to allow all of you to take a look and to check it out. I want you guys to go on there, take a look at how the layout of that website is, take a look at some of the information that's on there. We'll still be uploading more and more information all the time, but I would love for you to take a look at that info. And then what I would love for you to do is to send me an email on any comments. So let me know what you think. So you can just go to frankieflowers.com, or you can go to frankie@frankieflowers.com and send me an email. frankieflowers.com, you can see the email address right there, and you can also sign up for the newsletter. The newsletter will be starting in December. So as of December, we will be sending out monthly newsletters to kind of give you tips and tricks for your garden, and also just kind of tell you what events are coming up, and even some things that are just interesting me. Everything from the world of grow, which is gardening, to eat, which I love to do, and that's some of my cooking things that I do, to living, some of the great ways that you can actually enjoy the outdoors and also take in some native nature, sustainable living. And even with that, will be even some destinations you can travel to that you can actually take a look at some wonderful plant material, because I love going. So it's my 3 loves. My 3 loves are grow, eat, live, which is gel. I figure if you can grow, and you can grow in the garden, or you can grow in life, become a better individual. If you can eat, which is related to growing, because we got to eat well, we got to feed our plants well, we got to take care, and then that gives you the beautiful life. So that's it. Gel in life. Grow, eat, live. Okay. Thank you for that. Okay, here we go. Another comment and or question this morning. Planted garlic. Good to check on it for the squirrels. Sherry, garlic should be something that squirrels should tend to stay away from. They should tend to stay away from. So just to give you a heads up on that. There's that one, same question. So we're just going to go down here. Liz, what can I do with my unopened buds of Rose of Sharon? Just leave them alone. You can prune your Rose of Sharon right now. Rose of Sharon are best pruned after they bloom. So you can prune it to up to a third, shape it, prune it, remove any dead wood, any center growing branches, kind of clean any of those branches that grow up through the center. That'll put more light into the center of that plant and actually make that plant more healthier next spring. So those are all things that you can do right now. Water, but we've been getting the occasional rain. We got kind of a dry week, so I'm a little bit concerned with this week being overly dry. So if we're seeing that some of our plants or soil is looking a little bit dry on our in-garden plants or in-soil plants, then we want to water those ones that are really important, because we don't want them to go into winter under stress. Kim saying good morning from Stratford. Beautiful place that's there in Stratford. Angie, will rabbits and squirrels eat my garlic bulbs? They should not. Angie, if you are having an issue with them doing so, best thing to do is, if you're seeing that, I'm shocked, but things happen, like even when they shouldn't, because they tend not to like the taste of garlic. But if that is happening, then just put chicken wire down. So you're going to plant right above the space where you're planting, you're going to put chicken wire down, and then you cover that chicken wire with soil. The garlic will grow through the chicken wire. The rodents, those little pesky things, will not get to them. That leads me to another little comment as well. I want to make people aware. This is the time when we're getting colder temperatures outdoors, as you've seen. And because we're getting colder temperatures outdoors, if we have older homes or we have homes that have cracks, crevices, or openings, this is when things like ladybugs will start to come inside your home. Box elder bugs will start to come inside your home. Cluster flies will start to come inside your home because they're looking for warm spaces. Also, what will come inside your home are mice and rats. So go inspect your home. Sometimes doing some caulking around windows can help with that. If you have some areas where you may be concerned that a mouse could get in, just some steel wool, shove some steel wool into those spaces. And then that way you can protect your home from basically Mother Nature's creatures that just want to try to get to a warm space. So you can't blame them. If they're walking by and it's a cold night and they feel this little warm shot of air coming from your home, they're going to go, what is that? And they're going to go towards it. So if it's not blocked, they're going to come in. Good morning this morning from Erica from Aurora. Viola this morning is saying, good morning from Barry. Marlene, again, my cherry tomato tree is laden with cherries. Should I cut it down or leave the tomatoes to ripen? I would pick as many of those tomatoes as you can that's showing a little bit of color. Bring them indoors. Just put with one ripened cherry. You will be able to ripen the others quicker. So let me just take a look because you may have some time. I think that I know Toronto this week, we are frost free in terms of the forecast. Berry weather. Do a quick look here on Environment Canada, and I'll let you guys know. So we have the average overnight temperature this week. So you could leave them until Wednesday night. So tonight's overnight low in Barrie is 6 degrees. Tomorrow night's 10 degrees. Tuesday night is 11 degrees. Wednesday night is +1 with clearing skies. And we have a risk of frost this week in Barrie Wednesday and Thursday night. So that's a little bit to let you guys know there. So you can leave them on until that period of time, but I would pick as many as them off. Any of the ones showing color, put them indoors. You're going to put them in an area where it's still room temperature. So you can even lay them all flat, maybe on your dining room table. Just put tablecloth down, put them on top of the tablecloth, put a couple ripe cherry tomatoes in with them. Those will actually release ethylene, and those will help ripen the rest of them that are there. So there you go. And there you go with Jane. Rabbits and squirrels, I believe, don't like garlic. No, they don't. Mostly everything doesn't like garlic, except us as humans. And we like it when we actually cook garlic. Raw garlic is really pungent. I don't know if you guys have ever tried raw garlic. It's super pungent. So garlic's actually used to repel many things. It's actually used, garlic itself is interplanted. If you interplant it with your rose bushes, so you plant it amongst your rose bushes, even just having garlic growing will repel aphids. Mary, morning from St. Catharines. Where do you store a plastic pot with tulips to put in your pots in the spring? So the best place, you need this to go into a plunge period. So this needs to go in an area which is cold, dark, and will see temperatures that go near and or below freezing. You could do it into a cold cellar because it's totally dark down there. There's no light. You could do it in a garage that is somewhat insulated, so don't put it near the back walls. The concern is with the being in a plastic pot, if it freezes too solid, sometimes what will happen is that frost, that freezing will expand the soil in that pot because the pot has water in it. Will expand that soil because the water's in the soil. And by that expansion that happens when it freezes, it can crack the pot. So either in a garage that's somewhat insulated but still remains cool, a fruit cellar, those are all other areas that you want to put it in a plunge period. If you're wondering how greenhouse growers do it, they actually put it into a big, large refrigerator. And that temperature just hovers right above the freezing mark. It sits in refrigeration. And then as they need those plants, they start pulling the plastic pots out. They put them in the greenhouse. They start showing them light, heat, and moisture. And boom, they get to grow at that time. Here we go with another question. Hi, Frankie. Would you recommend a grow light for indoor rosemary too? As long as you're in a bright room, as long as you have a south and or west facing room with lots of light in the room, but not directly in front of the window, I've had success with rosemary without a grow light. So rosemary tends to survive quite well without a grow light. Rosemary's a more durable, and it's a Mediterranean plant with a woody stem. It's more of a shrub than what basil is. Okay, here we go with another question from Erica again. I brought in a huge lavender plant I had outside in a large pot. Any suggestion? Lavender can be treated very similar to the rosemary, west or south facing window. Allow it to dry in between waterings. Any dead sections that you see during the winter that are on there, remove those dead sections. You're only going to be watering once to twice a month, depending upon the size of the pot. And then in March, you're going to start fertilizing that plant indoors. A grow light can help with the lavender more so than the rosemary, but it should do quite well overall. Here's another question. Can I plant the spring bulbs in pots and plant the pots in the ground? Yes, you can. 100%. 100%. It's the easier way to do it. So you can just sink the pots in the ground, and then in the spring, you're just going to slide those pots up. And sometimes you'll find that they'll freeze in the ground. So when you go to slide them up, so just be aware of that. Sometimes even if you were to put them in the ground, so when you go to plant them in the ground, if you were to have, let's say that you were to have like a painter's sheet that goes down on the ground. Let's say that we put that down in first, we put the pot in, so then we can just kind of pull that sheet up. That'll actually help us with the freezing. Sometimes it'll help in there too as well. Here we go. Suzanne answering some questions out there for me too. Suzanne, just let you know, she runs a garden maintenance company up in the cottage country area, up towards Muskoka, Parry Sound, that area. I put mine in the garage every fall and they did very well. There you go. So there's some other added questions, which is great, which I love that people are on here helping out. So great, Frank. Congratulations, said Christine Wade. Thanks, Christine. I miss Christine, by the way. Christine's great. Christine used to do my books. She used to be my bookkeeper, but then she moved. Hi, Christine. Dave Little, good morning from Whippy, Frank. Congrats on the website, says a lot of people out there. Here we go with another question. Thanks, guys. Any comments on the website? I would love to improve. I don't like the idea about work with Frank. I need another word instead of work with Frank. And that's like for me to either help other people with their gardens, do speaking engagements. I'm also going to be booking some one-on-one coaching classes coming in the spring. So stay tuned for that as well. Catherine, is there a trick to planting spring bulbs so the squirrels don't eat them? There is a trick. Don't plant tulips. Squirrels love tulips. Daffodils are what squirrels don't tend to like. They don't like alliums and they don't like frutillaria. Really, the key is if you want to plant tulips and you have an issue with squirrels, you want to clean up after you're planting. So you want to make sure that you're not leaving any of the little like covers that come over the top of the tulip bulbs. So we clean up. You can put a little bit of blood meal down. That blood meal will discourage. So you top dress with blood meal and or hen manure around the area. If squirrels then come and start to dig, you can put a little bit of chicken wire down, and then the bulbs will grow through the chicken wire, but the squirrels will be able to get them. But once again, plant bulbs that they don't like. I'll be doing a segment on breakfast television tomorrow on spring flowering bulbs. Here goes Ashley, and she says, I miss trimming our cedar hedge. Would it be okay to do the odd clipping and clean up a bit today? Yes, just a little bit of the odd clipping and clean up. Don't do a big pruning. But any things that you see, any dead wood, like any browning on the cedar, clean it up. Just a little bit of cleaning if there's any branches that are going to go over. Evergreens, in late fall, we tend to tie them with twine because we want them to hold nice and tight, especially some of the emerald cedars. Because if we have snow that comes off a roof and then that snow then hits that emerald cedar and the cedar hasn't frozen solid yet, well, then it'll bend it over and break it, especially for those early snowfalls that we get in early winter. Here we go with another question this morning. Some branches and leaves are dying off of my Japanese maple. Any way to save the tree? Just prune off any of those dying branches. Do a deep watering right now. So go out there and give it a great soaking. I wouldn't do any fertilizing. Next spring, I would then go as soon as you start to see plants outdoors actively growing. So we're starting to see leaves. You can either do a quick start fertilizer, which would make it focus a little bit more on its root system, and then give it a little bit more of a fertilizer that has a higher first number a little bit later in the season. So first quick start fertilizer early spring, late spring do one with a higher nitrogen number. Some of the Japanese maples did get sun scald this summer because it was so hot, so dry. That sunburn they'll revive. They'll be fine. So any dead stems that you see, just remove the dead stems and give it a deep watering right now. That's the best thing that you can do for it. Asma is saying to us, taking some tulip bulbs as gifts overseas, how to grow in zones like Arizona. You can't. Well, you can. You can grow them in pots in Arizona. It depends on what area of Arizona. The soil type in Arizona is not great, but also it doesn't go into a dormancy period. Bulbs need to go into a plunge period, meaning they need to go to a period where they're sitting in an area that's dark, that's in the soil. There's still moisture in the soil, in the ground, and then cold. So not necessarily where they're freezing, but it's cold. So where temperatures are sitting just above the freezing mark, that is what's called winter. That's the dormancy period. That's why areas where you see spring flowering bulbs are usually more northern Europe and into Canada and more towards the northern portions of the United States. The northeast of the United States is where we see a lot of bulbs. I don't think they would do well unless you put them into a plunge period. So if you had a cool room, some refrigeration, you could put those bulbs in, put them through their plunge period. So look up online, tulip bulbs plunge period, and see where that goes for you. Okay, so I'm going to answer one last question that's here. I'm just going to more comment, and this is the last comment of the day from Dave Little. Thanks for the tips about planting my bulbs. I put blood meal around them to keep the squirrels away. Any other great suggestions? Once again, the pelletized chicken manure will work for you. I hope everything works out, guys. And also check out my segment tomorrow. Hopefully I'll be there tomorrow. We'll see how this cold is. I hope you guys enjoyed today's Frankie Flowers. Had a little bit of some disruptions. Feeling a little bit under the weather, so my energy level may have been a little bit lower than normal, but I'm here for you guys. I'm here to answer questions. Now I got to go call my son, pick him up at his friend's house, and then we got hockey this afternoon, and it's my time to be a dad. So to all those out there, have a wonderful day. It's beautiful weather here in the province of Ontario. Get out, enjoy fall while you can. Get out and do some garden. Remember, always grow, eat, live. Frankie Flowers.